Hearing God's Call, an audio introduction to the Catholic faith. This is the final session of a 30-session program produced by the Catholic Inquiry Centre, an agency of the Australian Catholic Bishops' Conference. The title of this session is Review, Summary and Invitation. Congratulations on reaching the final session of Hearing God's Call. In this session, we look back over the whole program as a reminder of the journey you have been on as you have listened, perhaps written or drawn responses to the questions, and maybe viewed some of the films that were recommended. You were introduced to stories of call or invitation as characters from the Old Testament took up challenges and responded in actions and prayers of joy and sometimes prayers of sorrow. Next, you heard the stories of the prophets and their passionate calls to return to covenant fidelity and their close personal relationship with God. This was followed by the story of the call of Mary, the mother of Jesus, and her extraordinary courage to say yes to God's call. Although Mary's response to God's invitation was individual and personal, she was supported and accompanied in her decision by her companion Joseph, who, despite experiencing confusion, stepped out in faith. The next figures introduced were the apostles Peter and Paul. Peter, the simple fisherman, was thrust into leadership despite feeling inadequate. The passionate scholar Paul had his story of transformation, disorientation and blindness, leading to a new direction as an energetic and clear-sighted teacher and preacher, giving witness to Jesus Christ. Models of faith from the history of the Church were then introduced with stories of saints and heroes and their response to God's particular call to them. In these sessions, you are also encouraged to think about God's call to you. In sessions 9 to 11, the focus shifted with teaching and instruction on God's gift to His people in the Bible. It is the story of Jesus Christ that gives shape and purpose to the Bible, and with a particular emphasis on forgiveness, it was the actions and message of Jesus as portrayed in the Gospels that formed the basis of the next 3 sessions. The mission of Jesus continues in and through the Church and its teaching, and in sessions 15 to 21, you were introduced to the history of the Church and some important teachings were explored, including the 10 Commandments and the Apostles' Creed. 3 ideas of sacred time, sacred space, and sacred things formed the framework for sessions 22 to 28, as the rich themes of sacraments and prayer were explored, including some practical suggestions to assist you in the vital and enriching practice of prayer. As you remember from the previous session, we concluded the program with a brief exploration of some of the social implications of living in accordance with the gospel of Jesus Christ. As we have done with each of the sessions, we now set aside some time for personal reflection. You might want to press the pause button and spend some time either writing or drawing your response to each of the 3 questions. Question number 1. As you come to the end of this audio program, take some time to recall the sessions that meant something special to you and the reasons why they were special. Question 2. For some of you, listening to this program may have been an interesting journey. You may be happy that you took it, but you are happy enough that it is finished. For others, you might want to start to listen all over again, or perhaps go back to 1 or 2 sessions that you really liked. For others, you are just going to enjoy the whole range of films that have been suggested. If, however, the program has increased your interest in Jesus Christ and His Church, and you would like to find out more about the Catholic faith, the next step is to get a copy of a book that is specifically written to build on this audio program. The book is called Call and Response, An Introduction to the Catholic Faith. It is written in simple language, covers a range of topics, and picks up where this program finishes. It is available from the Catholic Inquiry Centre. Telephone 1300 432 484. Or write to Post Office Box 415, Crows Nest, New South Wales 1585. Or send an email to info@catholicinquiry.com. And question 3. As you bring this session to prayer, and in fact your experience of the whole program, you might want to sit, stand or kneel before God and ask for His assistance in identifying someone who you can talk to about finding out more about the Catholic faith. It may be a priest, chaplain, or religious sister or brother. If you need some help in finding a suitable person, contact the Catholic Inquiry Centre. The contact details again are telephone 1300 432 484. Send a letter to Post Office Box 415, Crows Nest, New South Wales 1585, or an email to info@catholicinquiry.com. A film on DVD that might help you to review the topics covered in this audio program is The Saint of Fort Washington. Made in 1993, this film was directed by Tim Hunter and stars Danny Glover. It is something of a tall order to find a film that can summarize our reflections on hearing God's call. One popular story of an ordinary man who has to take a look at his life and his values and respond to a call to change is The Saint of Fort Washington. It shows a kind of secular saint, a young man with mental difficulties who spends time on the streets and in shelters with a range of people in similar situations. But he is a good man who lives a life of values, prepared to lay down his life for others. We conclude this session, and indeed the whole program, with a short reflection. It has been our sincerest hope at the Catholic Inquiry Centre that through these audio presentations you have learned new things about God, the Church, and about yourself, and that these new things are an emerging source of life for you. May God bless you, Father, Son, and Spirit, as you continue your journey through life. Amen.